Write like a man. Use a typewriter.
How close do you feel that we actually are to that
End of days?
that fourth kingdom? That fourth kingdom, that global empire.
Well, I think we're reasonably close. I think if you look at what the globalists are trying to do, they're trying to bring it about, right?
Yeah.
But they're trying to bring it about through political measures right now, which is going to be impossible to do. And we're seeing that, and they're struggling with that. They're going to need that Babylon religion, which is going to bring them together. And Babylon sponsors the 7-year covenant that Antichrist is going to be the one who's sort of unknown and is negotiating that, and that sets off that sort of last 7 years. But the question well, before I get back to the question, the three biggest stumbling blocks to the end time are world government, the universal religion, and somehow having the Jewish people do their sacrifices again on a wing of the temple. That just is. So you need the universal religion to make that wing of the temple happen, and that's also. And also, as I've explained, we need that universal religion to bring about the 10-king empire of the end time. And we need the false prophets of Babylon to come along to bring this about. And we also need the de-deification of Jesus to bring this about, to deceive more Christians and to create this universal religion where you have this umbrella-like organization. And we see some of the seeds of that with the World Council of Churches, and particularly with the Abrahamic covenant that's opening next year, where you got the 3 temples in there, and they're going to recognize shared values. And
where is this happening? What is this? I haven't heard of this.
Abu Dhabi is due to open in April next year. So it came about with the Pope, and I can't remember, El Taib is the Sunni imam, and they're going to have a temple there for the Jewish people. I mean, temple or synagogue for the Jewish people, a church there for the Roman Catholics, and then you're going to have a mosque there. And it's to work together to form a world religion. But that's just the monotheism part. So they have to de-deify Jesus. I would expect there won't be Christian crosses and things like that in the churches, because that's against the Sharia law. So and the UN in 2020 December passed a law that you can't blasphemy Islam, including biblical teachings or Christian teachings in particular. So we're starting to see sort of that process that comes about. But you're going to need the false prophets to say, and you see this as part of the science aspect, but not in the true magical false prophets of a religion aspect. You're going to see prophets that are going to come out and say, this is what I think, that if the world doesn't convert to the one true religion, then this disaster is going to happen. And they're going to have a set amount, and they're going to get progressively worse, so that they drive everybody together out of fear and convert to the one true religion, which will be this rising Babylon religion. And in Revelation 2:9, you get 10 days of tribulation. So more than the 7 years, the 2 tribulations of the last 7 years, the one for the saints, and then in the last 3.5 years, the one for the entire world that we haven't seen since the beginning. But you'll have an additional 3 days, as the covenant is 1 week a year. You have 10 days, and Revelations and the days and everything, they all match up perfectly with Daniel. I think there's going to be this tribulation with Babylon coming together, and the false prophets and the people turning against the Christians, and great horrific things. So that needs to come together. We're starting to see it, but you need that religion to come together. So where are we? I think from a fig tree and days of Noah prophecy, which is the overarching part of all of the chronology of events that Jesus is predicting that comes before, in a set order, with the middle point being the abomination that Daniel, he references Daniel in that, at the midpoint when Antichrist makes himself God in the temple, as 2 Thessalonians 2:4 talks about. You have a key component for that last generation that has to be in place, and that is visible Judah, the southern kingdom, back in the land. And then you have Jesus saying after that, and it's got to be like the days of Noah. And that's just not from a perspective of violence and godlessness and not expecting the apocalypse of fire this time as it was in the days of Noah, but all of the days of Noah. As in Daniel 9, Genesis 9:29 says, as the days of Noah were 600 years before the flood, 350 years after. Jesus uses the specific words as in the days of Noah. That's from Greek into English and then Hebrew into English, and it's the same words. And we need to know what happened before the flood and after the flood, and the great technology that they had that I think I talked about in the last show that we can't even duplicate yet, but we're starting to get close to that. They could destroy and corrupt the whole world, even the DNA and the genomes of the animals and of the plants.
Oh, they're promoting human-animal hybrids now with CRISPR technology.